you all the elite panel today. First on the panel is Professor David Foskett, Chairman of International Hospitality Council, London. Professor Foskett is a member of the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts, Craft Guild of Chefs, and a fellow of the Institute of Hospitality. Next on the panel is Chef Sean Kenworthy, Culinary Director, IIHM. Born in the United Kingdom, Mr. Kenworthy has worked in Yorkshire, Manchester, London, Stockholm, and New York. Next on the panel, Mr. Keith Edgar, wine, beverage, and restaurant professional. Currently based in Denver, he has worked in the wine and food industry in the USA, Canada, Australia, Thailand, and China. He is also a wine writer in both print and online periodicals such as The Telegraph India and the wineclub.in. Next on the panel, Ms. Ritu Jolly, Group Associate Director, Training and Placement, IIHM. She is a hospitality professional with over 25 years of experience and has worked in both operations as well as learning and development in various hotels such as Taj and Shivnivas Palace. Next on the panel, Mr. Avinash Kumar, F&B Manager, Kimpton, Charlotte Square. He started his career with Novotel and worked for the Murrayfield Stadium for 3 years and is now with IHG for the last 10 years. Next on the panel, Mr. Syed Jeff Hussain, Director of Food and Beverage, Callaway Gardens and Resort, Georgia. Prior to joining Callaway, he has worked with Westin Hotels and Resorts as a Director of F&B. Received many accolades during his leadership, such as Best Hotel Award and Restaurant of the Year. Next on the panel is Mr. Sarfaraz Alam, Food and Beverage Director, Hilton Hotels and Resorts. Skilled in food and beverage and customer satisfaction, he is a strong operations professional with a Bachelor of Arts focused on hospitality administration from Edinburgh Napier University. Now, our moderator, Dr. Subarno Bose, founder and CEO, EduGuy and IndySmart Group. A chartered accountant with over 30 years' entrepreneurial experience as CEO of International Hospitality Council, London, and the founder and chief mentor of IndySmart Group worldwide. Mr. Bose is among the country's best-known hospitality educators with major brands such as IIHM and IAM Hotel Schools. With this, I'd like to hand over the session to Mr. Bose. Have a great one, sir.
Thank you very much, Prabjit. That was very nice. And very good evening to all of the viewers in India, and very good afternoon and morning to all our guests, depending which part of the world you are from. And it's such great pleasure to meet my own students, Sarfaraz, Jeff, Avinash, and others as well. Welcome to the show, Sean, Keith, Ritu, and Professor Foskett is still struggling to get inside. I'm sure he will in course of time. And so we are going to talk in the evening for next 1 hour about global education, and that's what IIHM stands for as well. Before I start, I must thank and congratulate abpeducation.com for organizing this series of the educational initiatives webinar. Many of them are already done, and some are online, and some of them are really great ones. And I have been there in a couple of them as some great speaker. So look forward for another great webinar from the stable of abpeducation.com, Ananda Bajar Patrika, and the Telegraph, the two of the most famous newspaper houses from India and Bengal. So I will actually start off with Keith Edgar. Keith, you are in US now, and what's the time now, Keith?
It is 6:40 in the morning. So normally when I'm, yeah, exactly, coffee. So normally when I'm doing sessions, I finish with a glass of wine, but at 6:40 in the morning, I'm going to stick with coffee.
6:40 in the morning by global standard, coffee is the best drink you can have. And Keith, if I can start with you, global education, global classroom, International Hospitality, International Institute of Hotel Management. So all put in together, where we are talking about. I'm happy David Foskett have joined. Welcome.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, David, be there.
Yeah.
So Kit, you have been with this education now in IIHM and of course in WSET for quite a long time now, apart from being a master sommelier and a wine guru, as we call you. Could you just light how this global education at IIHM and the global exposure that students of IIHM gets in the wine and food and beverage under your leadership, especially in education, as well as if you can speak a little on the international wine tours that you have been leading for now last, what, 4 or 5 years now. Over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to clarify, I'm a sommelier, not a master sommelier. That takes too much time, too much energy. But yes, hopefully someday one of our students will become a master sommelier. It's the program that we put together at IIHM. I didn't want to just create a wine education program that was great for Kolkata or great for India. We wanted to put together a program that was actually on an international level, would be considered one of the top. We have everything in place in IIHM that they could be well on their way to becoming a sommelier and then a master sommelier through this program. I had started to see, I know when I first started to do presentations at IIHM to the incoming students, I think it was about 10 years ago, the first time I did it. And we really had to explain to everyone what a sommelier was. Everyone wanted to be a celebrity chef. Thanks to Sean Kenworthy, everyone wants to be like him. But I said to them, it's way too hot in the kitchen. And you have much more fun on the floor of the restaurant. So now we actually see that there is a demand for students that are joining, that wine is a career choice that they want to pursue. So once I started to see that, we just thought about how we could make the program as defined for them as possible, to give them as many options and as many opportunities that they could sort of be educated in wine and hopefully that they will take that as a career, whether it becomes a sommelier. We actually have a lot of students that are interested now in getting into winemaking and working in the vineyards, making grapes, growing wine. So it's been quite a journey. A few years back, we had started the IIHM Euro wine tour, education wine tour. And when I was doing my sessions for the students, there's one particular session I do for Rioja wines in Spain. And there is this, Rioja wines have this history of aging their wines for long periods of time in oak barrels before they bottle them and sell them. And when you walk into the cellars in Rioja, there's this amazing smell of oak and red wine that is really hard to describe. So I remember being in the cellars and I was thinking, you know, the only way that I can really let the students understand what this smell is like is to actually bring the students here to do that. So that's where we started the IIHM Euro wine tour, and I had approached Dr. Bose about putting together a tour for the students. And I was under the impression that, and I said to him, I said, you know, I hope that when we put this tour together, we would be able to have some positions available for the students based on merit, not based on their ability to pay, because I knew this tour was not going to be inexpensive to do. But I had said to Dr. Bose, I really would like to do this, that we can have a portion of the students that attend based on merit, not just because they can afford to go on this tour. And when I was done with my presentation, I put together the first program for him and presented it to him. And he said, and I reminded him, I said, you know, remember, I want a portion of this tour to be available to students based on merit. And then he said to me, he said, no, I think we should, all of the students should go. IIHM is going to pay, and it is going to be based on merit. And I know that this is the only hospitality college in the world that actually gives a completely, at least to my knowledge, completely paid for wine education tour. It's about 10 days we visit the wineries, we meet the winemakers. The students have actually been in the vineyards, picking grapes, helping with the harvest. And we also experience the culture of the country. For example, we've done many trips to France, and you really can't go to France without eating the food, having those escargots and chocolate croissants in the morning. So it's something that has been really a successful program, and it also has highlighted the opportunities, optional careers for students to get into the wine industry. So we've gone to pretty much every one of the major wine regions in Europe. The ones that we haven't been to yet, we'll be going to in the next couple of years. Next year in March, we're planning to go to New Zealand to visit the wineries there. And it's really been a rewarding program because many of the students that have made it through, and again, we choose the students the top in each of the campuses. So across 10 campuses now, we have 10 students. I think Kolkata gets 2 students because it's such a large campus. And of the students that have made it for these tours, I think we have about 5 of them that are now have passed their first level of sommelier. And many of them are going to be doing their second level, which is the certified sommelier, early next year. And my goal is that we are able to have this opportunity. We can have many sommeliers from IIHM joining the industry in India and abroad, because India is really, there's really a demand for that, to have these sommeliers. It's one of the fastest growing industry demands for having people to join. So I would like to have hundreds and hundreds of IIHM students become sommeliers over the next few years. But in addition to that, we also started a program, especially when we're in this sort of COVID culture of Zoom. We were able to actually invite a number of international wine personalities to give presentations directly to our students live via Zoom. We've had Arabella and Livy, which are the new generation for Astrolab wines in New Zealand. They did a nice session for the students learning about the wines of New Zealand. We had Charlene Drapier from Drapier Champagne discussing her champagne house and what it's like for her to be a new generation taking over the business. We had Rajat Par, who was actually born and raised in Kolkata, but he's now probably India's most famous wine personality. He's written a couple of books. He's internationally recognized as very talented. He was a fantastic sommelier in the United States, and he's now transitioned to winemaking, and he's just doing a fantastic job. Donald Zeraldo, who's the king of Canadian ice wine, he did a direct presentation for the students on ice wine, how it was made. So we've been really fortunate to be able to have these master classes being done by some of the wine industry's top people. Prior to the COVID scenario, we even had a lot of international wine personalities coming directly to the campus. We had David Bourdaire from, he has a champagne house in Champagne, and he actually came to a couple of our campuses, did presentations on champagne. David's a 3rd generation champagne producer now. We had 2 Master of Wine do presentations at IIHM. We had John Salvi. He's one of the most respected and especially an expert in Bordeaux, Master of Wine. He did a presentation. Liam Stevenson has done presentations for us. One of my colleagues who does regular classes for the students, Peter Honig, he's from the UK, and he comes to India as well on a regular basis and does classes. And I as well try to make it to India about 2 or 3 times a year so I can do wine sessions directly with the students. So we've done quite a bit. We even introduced the WSET classes, which is in order to become a Master of Wine, you have to first do your first 4 levels of Wine Spirit Education Trust. We've done levels 1, 2, and 3 at IIHM. Our students were able to participate. So we're really putting together all of the steps required for our students to be able to, by the time they graduate, they're really in a strong position to be further successful in getting their classifications either as sommeliers and ultimately master sommelier and diploma with WSET, and then hopefully at some point master of wine. So we put together a program that I think is definitely unparalleled in India, but also on an international standard, really, really up there as far as the quality of the educators that we have, the opportunities that we give the students. And I think the Euro Wine Tour is probably the best as far as the hands-on opportunity that it gives the students to actually go to the vineyards and actually work in them as well. So that's what we put together.
Absolutely, Kit. That's so well articulated, the emphasis of the global educators to teach something very global, because wine is still a growing subject in India, and it's actually your credit that you got all this real stalwart from the world of wine to bring them, and not just bring them, but actually they come and physically and they stay back and take classes. And like you mentioned about David Bordeaux. Now I want to mention about one of the students who went to the wine tour. If you remember, very shy girl from Ahmedabad, which is actually a dry state, Mansi Kotecha, 3 years back. And Mansi was the most unlikely wine sommelier. And when Mansi went to Italy, if I'm not wrong, with Keith, and then came back, she said, I'm going to be a sommelier and nothing else really. And her first job was in Taj Faluknama. And then she quickly moved on to JW Marriott in Pune and off to Taj. And now she's one of the India's foremost wine sommelier young face. And she's just about 24-year-old. So we are producing a lot of students and alumni who are actually very inspired by their education, international exposure, and wine tour experience. I think it has been absolutely awesome, fantastic. Thanks, Kit. I will quickly come to one of the students now, because they are the people for whom we all kind of do everything possible. So just pick on random. Jeff Hussain, if you are ready, can I just come and speak to you? It's lovely to see you back after so many years. Also on the screen, nevertheless, it's always great to connect. So just let me get my, yeah. So Jeff, coming back to the school once again, like a little, I'm feeling a little like an alumni meet actually, with all 3 of you in the boxes. But then you had gone through all the great experience of being in IIHM Kolkata, and you have been there. You are now doing so well. So what do you have to say about the IIHM experience, whether it's about studies, education, being naughty, everything, you know, the hostel life, the food festival?
Yes, I mean, no doubt about it. You know, the IIHM was the platform, and it still is a platform where, you know, what I am today, it is all because of the IIHM. And I will be very honest that before joining IIHM, I had no clue what is hotel management. You know, what the hotel structure looked like. I was just, okay, you know, all looking the majesty of the hotel, you know, the beautiful lobby, and, you know, the fine dining restaurant and all, but nothing to know about, you know, how this hotel works and operates. And after joining, you know, IIHM in 2011, and then after I realized, okay, there is more into the hotel, and that's how I got the base. And I remember my first session of senior. Sir Fraser was one of was my senior that time, and he also helped me a lot and to understand the hospitality. So thanks to Sir Fraser, and definitely. So I would, to be very honest, I was thinking about, you know, the IIHM, and is like a dream house. So when you plan to have a dream house, the first thing what you do is you buy a land, and then you build a pillar, and then you furnish the house, and then you put the decors inside. So this is what the IIHM is. IIHM is the dreamland. The land is called the IIHM. The pillars are our faculty members, and our seniors. And then you furnish yourself, and get a title, and and show to the world. So this is what the IIHM is. And my journey was great. I passed out in 2014. I completed my college and got an opportunity to work in US as an intern at Chateau Lan Winery and Resort. And it was a great experience because from the college I got enough knowledge about the winery, beverages and the food, and that incorporated into my internship. And that's how I got my first title in the management as a beverage supervisor. So I was managing the beverage cost for the entire resort for 3 months, and they promoted me into the managing training program from there. And that's how I start moving up. But yeah, the college life, if I talk about the college life, the hostel, there's every single moment in the college was a learning moment. A lot of time people think, what you're going to learn from the classes, there was a kind of, thought process, but everything that your faculty is teaching you, telling you, that is going to be the route for your future,
Yes, so any particular incident you remember from IIHM which was maybe memorable or maybe funny or whatever, that is something which is memorable for you?
There's every single moment, is memorable from IIHM. There's a lot of funny stories, of the hostel. But one thing, I can tell you, like Rajiv sir always, he was one of the great mentor for every single student. He always said, don't say, to the guest, like, whenever we're in the class, he used to say, don't say no, always say, I will get back to you. And I never realized that, how it is important till I joined the real industry, and saying no to the guest is not the right thing. Saying I will get back to you is the most important thing. So that is still that I learned in 2011, and it continues.
Excellent. Jeff, will come back to you, and we'll get some more stories. I'll quickly come to Ritu Jolly, and we'll get a quick bite from Ritu. Ritu's been associated with the international training and placement, apart from also grooming the students for the interviews in the year 3. And of course, Ritu, can you just tell all our viewers about the IIHM education in terms of the qualification, the degree, the global education, the global degree they are getting, and of course the global placement?
Yes, and good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Bose. And yes, IIHM, as the name says, it's International Institute of Hotel Management. It's not just the name international, but it's truly international. As we had Mr. Keith Edgar talking about international education. So, well, one of the most important aspects is, of course, that you get an international degree. That is a degree from the University of West London, is what we give, which is one of the top-notch universities now in UK, and this is their passport to pursuing a career of hospitality across the globe. Apart from this degree, when we say it's international, and apart from international faculties coming to take sessions, it has a Global Connect program. And this program is very, very unique. And having been a hotelier, I have been in touch with various institutes, and this is the only institute that has this Global Connect program, wherein students get an opportunity to connect with hoteliers, hospitality professionals, chefs from across the globe. And when I say across the globe, I mean more than 50 countries. It's a fantastic opportunity for them to connect with them on one-on-one basis, to understand what's happening globally, to get in touch with them and say, hey, can I come across for a training for a while? Can I come across for a summer program? So fantastic opportunity for them to understand what's happening globally. And of course, needless to say, our students train in and are placed in different countries, be it in Asia, be it in the US. Of course, we have Jeff and Sarfaraz here from US and UK, of course. So we have students in Mauritius, we have students in France, we have students in the US, we have students in Australia. Name the country, and that's where our students are placed and they pursue a career very, very successfully. Having understood this, we also haven't just left it to only placement, but we also realize that, well, students also sometimes want to pursue higher education. And how do they go about doing it if they were to go global? And that's why IIHM has also collaborated with universities. So not only can a student really pursue his, say, his final year in UWL or pursue his final year in Switzerland, but also post his graduation, if a student wishes to go for post-graduations, IIHM has collaborated with various universities which assist students for post-graduation and thereby pursue a career. So as we speak, we have students in Germany who are now looking at pursuing a career in Germany. It's all because of IIHM. And we have students in Canada who are now looking at pursuing a career there, studying at the Niagara College, which is all thanks to IIHM's collaboration. So various opportunities really for our students. And the most wonderful part is that when our students, if they go for a short training, they often come back with a letter asking them to come back and join them and to work there. And that is what makes IIHM truly international in the true sense of the word.
So right. I will quickly come to Professor Foskett. Foskett is a legend, as we all know. His book has been read over 140 countries, and ask any chef in the world who has not read Practical Cookery and the Theory of Catering. Cesarini, Kenton, Foskett, the three pillar of that book. Professor Foskett, welcome to the show, and good afternoon from London. You are one of the inspiration for millions of people, of students all over the world, and obviously your books are like a Bible for any culinary student. I remember once I spoke with Sanjeev Kapoor, and when I introduced Sanjeev Kapoor to Professor David Foskett, Sanjeev Kapoor ran and bought a copy of his old book of the Theory of Catering, and requested Professor Foskett, could you please autograph this? I still keep this book in my car. So that is the respect that Professor Foskett has from all over the world. Professor Foskett, may I just ask you, you had a very strong association with IIHM, so, and of course, Young Chef Olympiad. I mean, how do you think that the students of IIHM as compared with the students of the other hospitality institution or anywhere in the world? How do you compare them, and what is your take on the students and the faculty of IIHM campuses in India?
Well, my experience across the world and in other parts of Europe, I have to say that IIHM has now become a world leader in hospitality education. It's become a world leader because IIHM, hospitality is part of their DNA, yeah? And the students have the DNA of hospitality when they come to IIHM, but that is also further developed in their education. And this makes IIHM a global leader in hospitality education. And I've got experience across Europe and in Switzerland, and lots of people talk about Switzerland, and yes, Lausanne is good, but you know, one thing about IIHM, that in Switzerland, it's not part of their DNA. And in IIHM, it's part of the DNA. It oozes with hospitality. And it flows through the whole culture, processes, Yeah, it's a vibrant body of hospitality education at the cutting edge, at the cutting edge of technology and development. And that's important, to be at the cutting edge. You cannot be world class unless you are at the cutting edge of developments in hospitality. And IIHM is at the cutting edge. With the Young Chef Olympiad, you see the spirit of IIHM. The links all over the world. And we've heard so much about students studying in Germany, Canada. They are needed and wanted. That's the key thing. They're not just needed, they're wanted in different parts of the world because they have this natural ability through the grooming, through the education of IIHM. IIHM has become a world-class leader in hospitality management from my experience. And I'm an examiner in different universities. I have been an examiner in Switzerland for several years. I've been an examiner in other parts of the world. I've seen other parts of Asia. But IIHM has something very special in its DNA that really encapsulates what hospitality is all about. It flows through their body, hospitality. And the opportunities that there are for IIHM students are phenomenal across the world because every society needs hospitality, travel and tourism. A society that doesn't have hospitality is like a body without bloodstream, yeah? And we've seen that with the pandemic. We've seen that with lockdowns. And the government here in the UK were desperate to get hospitality back because hospitality is an important part of the economy and jobs. Yeah, and we've seen that desperately in the UK and throughout the world. There are so many opportunities. And IIHM students will never, never be unemployed in the future once we get this pandemic out of the way, and we will do. We'll get this out the way. We will be bouncing back, and there'll be more and more jobs, and IIHM students will be in great demand across the world. And it was interesting the other day because I was at a webinar with a cruise liner CEO and says, don't talk down the cruise industry because of this pandemic. We're opening up, we're bouncing back. We are desperate for good people to come and join the cruise liners. And it's very interesting because on Friday, I sat next to an engineer, an air conditioning engineer. And he said to me, we're working with the cruise ships, we're working with the hotels to actually filter all the bacteria and all the viruses. And we have a solution. We have a solution. And we are now working closely with cruise ships to get them going, and more jobs. And people have this insatiable appetite to travel the world. And there will always be jobs. And IIHM is at the cutting edge, and that's important, at world development. It has something very special. And an IIHM student stands out. They are gold. IIHM students are gold and platinum. They are gold and platinum students in hospitality. And when they come out, they should have a graduate gold badge and platinum badge to say, I am an IIHM student. And that's something very special. And I don't see that in any other part of the world or any other university or college from my experience. And my experience is these students are very, very special, very, very special and very well educated and extremely employable. And all the students listening, believe you me, IIHM is the light, is your shining light in this dark world at the moment. When we get over this pandemic, you have the light, you have the opportunity to actually change the world. You have the opportunity to work across the world because you come from a world-class center. You are gold standard students or platinum standard students. Yeah. And in somewhere in the IHM logo, there should be now the gold standard, the gold, because you are now gold standard. You are above the rest. And thanks to the team and the fantastic team of lecturers I've met at IIHM. And I know that Ritu Jolly there, she's listening. Her customer service experience is second to none. Second to none. Absolutely wonderful. She has so much to offer. She's a world-class customer service lecturer. Yeah, I only wish she was over here. Yeah, I could promote her. Yeah, and that's the advantage you have in IIHM. You have the world's best. And now I've got to go to a board meeting on Zoom with the Institute of Hospitality, who do work across the world. And they have become very interested in India because they know India is the future and IIHM is the future. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Professor Foskett. Those were golden words actually coming from David Foskett, Chairman of the International Hospitality Council in UK. Thanks, Professor Foskett, for those lovely words, inspirational and encouraging to all of us. And we are touched by your words. Thank you so much for joining in spite of your very, very busy schedule, which we understand. Thank you very much. Thanks for being with us.
World class, gold standard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye now. Bye.
Bye now. So with that short and great words from the chairman of the International Hospitality Council, UK and world, I quickly come to Sarfaraz Alam. Sarfaraz has been one of the, I know, blue-eyed student of many faculty members of IIHM, and because my wife tests from that. Sarfaraz, a different world now, I know, but I'm sure that when you look back, that 3 years, which we say sometime, hashtag best 3 years. I mean, what do you think about it, looking back those 3 years at IIHM, the IIHM experience?
Thank you so much, Mr. Bose, and thank you so much, Jeff, and everybody. Good evening. When I started 2009, when I joined Calcutta faculty, I came from Hyderabad, totally a different, different state, very new. There was literally nothing. I didn't know anybody coming down there. My dad, he came down there, dropped me, and when he went back, it was something where I felt like I'm alone in the beginning. And when all the students starts coming, when we started meeting the faculties, the first session I remember, which was happened at the IndiSmart, and slowly everything started to become like a family. And I used to stay in the hostel, and we used to go out. When we go out, you will always feel like there are seniors who are ready to help you at any scenarios. They're ready to guide you. The faculties members were there, and one of the best thing which I will say is, which I haven't seen. I did my 10+2 from a different college, and which I haven't seen in the past, and which I realized in the college at the IIHM was that faculty takes you under their wings. And that's, I think, one of the best thing is, which you don't get it anywhere else. Once they'll take you under their wings, they will support you. Personally, they will, sometimes when you miss home, that's a very young age. When you start missing home, you stay in the hostel, they are the one who will step forward. They'll step in, and they will always ready to help you in those scenarios if there is anything. And great support, I'll say that.
Sarfaraz, any particular incident you want to tell us? Maybe something in a hostel when you are possibly coming late at night from the pub?
Yeah, it was the only thing was in the hostels, the best thing was there's always somebody who is caring for you. Somebody is looking to make sure that you're all right. That was one of the biggest thing which was there. it's not that, you know, they were like, okay, you cannot go out, you cannot come. It's not something like, you know, where they're restricting your wings, but most of all, they're more cared about you and they're concerned about your, you know, wellness. So that was the biggest thing, which I forgot the name of the warden. I'm really sorry, but he was really really nice, very concerned. Great
So
thing.
first, that's Harris sir and Philip sir.
Yes. Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Harris was the one, and I'm sorry,
Yes.
you know, he's not with us anymore.
Yes. He was a great guy. Very caring. And before I come to our culinary director, Sean Kenworthy, I will quickly come to Avinash actually, and then come to Sean in a minute. Avinash, good afternoon. You are in Edinburgh right now?
Yes, sir. Hello, Mr.
Hello,
Bose.
Avinash.
Good evening to
Lovely
everyone.
to meet
Yeah,
you.
it's like afternoon here. Yes, I'm in Edinburgh at the moment, sir, and I never moved out of Edinburgh after my studies, actually. So I'm still in IIHG for the last 10 years.
Fantastic, Avinash, and we are very proud of what you have done. We do follow you quite closely on the social media. And so, Avinash, it's quite a long time when you were in IIHM, but I'm sure you look back fondly in the college days, the IIHM days, that 3 years that when I met some of my students, I think about just before the pandemic, somebody in the Goa airport, and I didn't recognize, but he recognized me and said that those 3 years are the best 3 years I've spent in my life. And he had almost tears in his eyes, actually. So coming back to you, Avinash, what do you think about those 3 years at IIHM? How it shaped your life from a student, as Jeff said, from a student coming with stars in the eyes to a professional as you are today?
Absolutely. I mean, I must say that this was one of those best 3 years of my life as a student, you know, because I was very serious about my studies always, you know, because I passed out from Sainik School Purulia in West Bengal, which is also in West Bengal. And then from there, I always wanted to join National Defense Academy. However, I couldn't get through SSB, Service Selection Board. I cleared twice the written examination, and I landed up to IIHM because my cousin was there, Vishal Kumar, and he always wanted me to motivate that about the hotel industry. And then I thought, okay, I know I gave a written examination and I cleared that examination, went there, and it was a completely different world, I would say that for me. And definitely IIHM gave a lot of confidence, you know, because for me, as I was very much serious about my studies, that also gave me like a practical knowledge as well for the hotel industry. And then from outside, you see that, you know, as somebody mentioned about it, like a lobby, nice lobby, you know, very well decorated, everything. But when you actually go, it's a bit hard work, I would say that, you know, working for a hotel industry. But if you have got a confidence and right attitude, you know, which I personally believe that IIHM has boosted a lot actually in me, because even though after passing out, after doing my 10+2 from Sainik School, you know, I had a bit of confidence, but when you work in a hotel industry, if you do not have a confidence, then you will not be actually grow further. So definitely IIHM has put up a lot of confidence, you know, and has given a lot of exposure, international exposure as well. Because I remember that it had a tie-up with Queen Margaret University. And that is a short story I would like to mention that here as well, or share with you guys actually, is that when I joined this Queen Margaret, when I came here in Edinburgh, that was a completely different experience, you know, what we have got it in Kolkata and in India actually. Because we were moving in like a group of 10 people or 9 people or 7 people. It's a kind of, and then I remember that Brian Credden, I believe his name was, he came to us that, guys, you cannot move in a group of 10 people. This is a kind of gang here, you know? So that was completely different in India, whereas in UK, it was completely different. And we were very much scared as well, that because the study pattern was very different here. And as I was saying that I was very much serious about my career, my studies. I always believe that I have to be like, on the top of everything, always actually. And thankfully, I was like adjudged International Student of the Year award here as well, way back in 2007. And I passed out with distinction. So I was very, very happy. And like, I never used to see my result. My colleague or my friend, actually my friend Alok Kumar Singh, I believe that Mr. Bose, you know him very well, and Parijat Neeraj as well. Both of them, they used to see my result and they used to phone me, oh, you got this 85 or whatever marks it was. And I was always to be like on a bus or in a hostel. I never used to see my result actually. And then they're very, very happy. We are all a group of 4 people. We all used to cooperate each other. But yeah, it was very, very interesting actually. And then once I get into the hospitality industry here in the UK, it was very different as well from India, I must say that, because the way was different, the working culture was very different here. And definitely you see that a lot of unfamiliar faces here, and then whatever the experience, whatever the confidence you have got it from IIHM, that comes into the action here. But definitely in the beginning, you have to put up more confidence. And there was, like Vishal was here before, so I was working with him, at Muddyfield Stadium for 3 years, and then he left, and then I left Muddyfield as well. So since then, when I joined IAG, it's been fruitful for me as well here being in Edinburgh actually, because three times in 2016, 2018, and 19 as well, I was awarded as a Best Banqueting Manager in Scottish Hotel Award. I received that 3 times actually. And then in 2017, I missed the final. I was in the final, but I missed the final actually, and somebody else got it actually. But during that time, I won Manager of the Year award for IAG for my hotel actually. So that has been very good actually so far for me here.
That's
but
excellent, Avinash. That also explains so nicely the international, the globalization of the IIHM, where students like you coming from Purulia, not even a metro city, and then going all over the world, winning the best manager, the best banqueting manager in Scotland, studying at our affiliate college, University Queen Margaret. That actually is the IHM story all about. It's all about being international. It's all about being global. It's all about being friendly with the unfamiliar faces, as you say. And before I go any further, I have to go for a commercial break for 2 minutes. Prabjit, are we ready with a commercial break, please? Yes. Sean Canverdi,
Dr. Sabona Bose.
most popular name in the culinary circle in Calcutta, and of course in India, and the chef who made Calcutta his own home, and of course, not surprising, married to a very beautiful Bengali girl.
I hope you can hear me.
So Sean, been a pillar of IIHM for now almost 15 years, and of course, been students, and the high point, of course, came last year when we decided that, we are doing the wine tour under Keith. Why don't we have a culinary tour? And we had the first ever culinary tour in France for almost 2 weeks, almost 14 days. Under Sean, and Sean took a bunch of around 12 students or 13 students, and we had a lovely time understanding gastronomy, understanding culinary to the basic roots, and so Sean will tell all the story about IHMness as we say in our own internal communication, the IHMness, which is all about international, all about trying to make our students as global hospitality citizens as possible. Over to you, Sean.
So I hope you can hear me. Am I audible?
You're okay.
Okay, great. So obviously I need to start by saying a bit of power fluctuation here. And I keep getting pop-ups on my screen saying that the connection isn't that stable. We also had a bit of a power fluctuation as well. So great to see some of our old students there, Sarfraz. All those familiar faces from many, many years ago. And it's great to see that obviously so many of our students have gone international over the years. So many of our students have gone on to study in the UK and gone to work all over the world. So yes, last year, the first French culinary tour that we've done to date. And I hope it's something that we're going to pursue in the future. I think if we talk about culinary arts, and it is a huge subject if we look at the larger bracket of culinary arts. And a lot of culinary arts, the basis starts in France. Now it's nothing to do with nationalism of a nation and it being better at something. It's just to do that with the French being the ones that originally documented food, traditions, the importance of ingredients, how we utilize ingredients, how we rear animals, how we treat our livestock, etc. So the tour that we went on last year was incredible for all the students, and all the students they loved it. I think there was 12 students that came with us, and we started off going to meet a chap that spent his life breeding bees. I know a lot of people would think bees. Well, I mean, you study culinary arts, why bees? So bees are obviously an incredibly, I think humans have started to believe, well, I know that humans believe that they're much more important than bees, but realistically, without the bee in this world, we'll have very, very few ingredients, things won't be able to propagate. So the pure emphasis of culinary arts starts with the very, very basics, really. So the importance of bees on the planet, what they do to propagate, grow, become, and we have more and more, let's say, fruits, vegetables to eat. Then we went to a cheese manufacturer, one of the only unpasteurized cheese camembert cheese manufacturers left in France. So the importance of the milk that goes into making the cheese, the traditions behind how the cheese is made, the aging process. And then we went to a beautiful farm, small holding, where they bred sheep. The farmer was incredibly focused in looking after his sheep until they reached the age to be to go to feed us, but very focused on taking care of those sheep while they were with us on the planet. So the whole tour went like this. We went to a butter factory, we went to a toffee factory, we went to see how copper pans are made, and again the importance of all those people along the way that make this great craft. And at the end of the day, the skill that chefs have, it's a craft skill. We need to learn our craft. We need to, and I think more and more today, it's much more important for the planet. Obviously, the main word on everybody's lips today is that we're over farming the globe. There's not going to be enough ingredients in the future. So these farmers are incredibly important to our planet, for our well-being, for our future. For any student, it becomes a much bigger issue for a nation as big as India. And if we don't know where our ingredients come from to start off with, and we don't know how well looked after those ingredients have been along that way, then how can we ever dream of becoming a great chef? It really isn't, there's not a traditional French kitchens when I was young. We learnt the basics. And again, as Dr. Bose forever hears me saying, basics, basics, basics are by far the most important. And obviously we've been pushing very hard with IIHM over the years to increase the idea of culinary arts. There's for people to travel the world. I've been incredibly lucky to travel the world with the craft skill that I have. And again, obviously, I think a lot of people are worried a little bit at the moment with COVID-19, but a lot of chefs I'm speaking to around the world, certain countries, economies started again. People want to get back out there. Hotel rooms are getting filled up again. Restaurants are getting filled again. Even just if we look at India, and I know I'm going off topic a little bit here, but even if we look at India, Bangalore last week, restaurants opened up. Already they're doing 70% of the business that they did pre-COVID, which is great for all of us. Throughout the year, we have literally, I can't say hundreds of chefs visiting India, but we do have maybe 50, 60, 70 chefs, internationally acclaimed chefs a year coming to India, teaching our students, showing them the diversity of food around the world, to show that obviously a few basic ingredients, and you have a world of cultures that are there to explore. So I think the job that I do is an incredibly important job. I'd like to think that a lot of you people watching this will think it's much more important than you did probably 20 years ago when I first came here. And I was almost looked upon as being, I have a cook at home. What's the big deal in there being a new chef in the city? So I think the idea of a chef, I think what a chef does has changed in society in India. And I think now is a great opportunity for youngsters who might not be the most academically inclined to pick up a great craft skill. You'll get to travel around the world if you want to, and you can have a job that, if you're like me, becomes very much a part of your life rather than just a job that you go to. My whole life revolves around food, whether it's cooking, obviously working for a living. Obviously, I do so many conferences. I advise people about different concepts. My years with Dr. Bose and IIHM, training young students, pushing them forward into the industry, have been incredible, I think. And it's something that obviously has a great, great future. And I look forward to seeing many, many more generations of students to come.
Absolutely, Sean. I mean, we are all looking forward that. But then I think we are coming towards the end of this very exciting webinar when we spoke about global education for global classroom, global institution, IIHM, International Institute of Hotel Management. And I'd like to ask all the three alumni, Jeff, Starford, and Avinash, to just say in one line, there we get Keith Edgar back, right? Keith, I hope you went for breakfast. Okay, so Jeff, Starford, and Avinash, if you all can say just a couple of lines about how IIHM or what IIHM did for you, or how IIHM changed your life, and just a short message to the new student, to your super duper juniors. Just a short message. Start with Jeff.
One second. Yes. I mean, I would say, like a lot of people say, the US is the land of opportunity, and I would consider as the IIHM is the land of opportunity. And as Sean sir said, Chef Sean said, basic, and just stick with your basics and you will get your dream.
Fantastic. Stick with your basic and you will get your dream. That was Jeff Hussain, IIHM alumni from USA. That's his message for the youngsters, for the juniors. And quickly coming to Sarfaraz, also from US. Sarfaraz, what you have to say for your juniors?
Thank you so much. I would like to say one thing. If I have come to know about the world is through IIHM. I did not know anything about the world before, but now you can ask me any country and I'll point it out with the wines. So it's been a pleasure. One thing which I would like to mention is IIHM is not only about the theoretical part of the hospitality. It's basically at the IIHM you will learn how practically you will be in the industry. So it's not only about the books and giving exam and getting the marks. It's more of practical knowledge and how you're gonna face the world. So IIHM, thank you so much.
Absolutely, Sarfaraz. IIHM is not just about the books and the walls of classroom, but it's about the practical. It's about the, as we say, hands-on and legs-on together. And things like food festival and now the wine tour. Coming to Avinash, who is with us from Edinburgh. Avinash, a short message for your juniors, please. Unmute, please. Yes.
Sorry, yeah. Thanks very much, Mr. Bose. Yeah, I must say that IIHM the best actually out of all the colleges because one thing is definitely is that it gives you the practical knowledge of it as well. Not that the bookworm, that doesn't make you as a bookworm actually. And it gives you a lot of confidence as well. Because rightly said that if you've got a good knowledge, when you go to the hotel industry and when you work for it, if you don't have a confidence how to tackle the situation, and all the knowledge goes, drained out actually. So you must to have a confidence, and it definitely IIHM gives you a lot of exposure, and it does actually with the internationally as well. That's how we have landed up to USA and in Edinburgh as well actually. So I must say that thank you very much IIHM. Whatever you have given to us, it is absolutely incredible. None of the other institute can give it to anyone, I believe. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Avinash. So confidence is what you get from IIHM, and that confidence takes you all over the world. I just say that confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, better it becomes. So I think that is one of the things. And we are in for a fantastic time. I think we are going through a little troubled time now, especially hospitality. But I think this is just a passing phase. Months from now, as Sean was mentioning, Keith was mentioned on even US, things are opening up, and we are on our way to, as they say, bouncing back to normal. It will take some time, but certainly we would be there. So that's great news, and I'd like to thank each one of you for this incredible 1 hour we had together. I'm sure that everyone enjoyed about 215, 230 people who were on Zoom, another 1,000 on the Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So I'm sure you have been able to inspire a lot of youngsters, and that's what we are all for. So thank you very much. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Sean. Ritu Jolly, thank you so much. And to my 3 superstars, Jeff, Sarfaraz, and Avinash, thank you very much. Thanks, ABP Education, for this webinar, and thanks, Telegram. Thanks, Ananda Vajay Patrika, for the opportunity, and we look forward to see you soon. So signing off from IIHM studio at Kolkata. This is Subarna Bose from IIHM studio. Namaskar to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.